Hi guys, welcome to my first video of 2022. So today I'm going to be making a ramen squishy from the movie Ponyo. This squishy did require a lot of paint and work, but it's easier to make than it looks if you break it down into several steps, which I'll be showing in this video. So yeah, let's get started now. The first step is to make the bowl. To do this, I traced a circle around a block of memory foam that's around 2.5 inches thick. You can also use other types of foam like density foam or a car sponge. Then I cut the foam along the outline. Next, turn the squishy over to the bottom and we're going to cut the edges. You want to continue cutting diagonally around the edges so that you can form more of a bowl shape. Next, I'm making the circular platform thing at the bottom of the bowl. To do this, I'm cutting the edges once again to create an indent. After you create that circular platform on the bottom, you want to continue cutting diagonally. The key to getting a smooth surface is to cut very tiny snips. Moving on to the top of the bowl, I'm attempting to cut a circle in the center. My scissors didn't want to cooperate with me, so I switched to a different pair. It'll definitely help to draw an outline before cutting this, so it's more even. Now I'm going to use my hands to tear the foam in the middle. You can also use scissors, but I found it to be easier to use my hands just because my scissors didn't work very well. Don't worry about this part being smooth because it's going to be covered up anyways. It also adds texture so it looks more like noodles. Now for a quick commercial break. If you guys didn't know, I created my own boba plushie merch. And if you're interested in adopting a boba, you can visit my Etsy, which is Papercoa. Now back to the video. I'm going to use Puffy Paint for the base coat of the bowl. Normally I use white paint and I do highly recommend you do, but since I'm running out of white paint, I decided to use dark blue paint instead. While that's drying, I'm going to start cutting the other pieces. First are the noodles. To make this, I cut long strips of memory foam and tried to make them look like noodles as much as possible. And then I realized that this is way too difficult and that it doesn't really matter because they're going to be bunched up anyways. So you don't have to try too hard on this part, just roughly smooth out the edges. For the ham, I cut out a circle and cut it in half. Next, I'm making the egg, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's just an oval. And finally, I'm going to make the green onions. To do this, I cut out tiny square pieces and I plucked the middle with some pliers. And after that, I cut the corners to make them round. It should look something like this now. It kind of looks like Cheerios. Going back to the bowl, after it's fully dry, you can put on the second coat of paint. This time I'm using the actual color that I want the bowl to be. And this took up quite a lot of paint actually. I think I did about 5 layers. Next, I'm globbing on some yellow paint on top of the bowl. Make sure to put a lot of paint because you're going to be sticking on the noodles. While the paint is still wet, I'm going to place the noodles down. After that, I painted the noodles with more yellow paint. On the side of the bowl, I'm going to paint blue and coral stripes. I waited an entire day for the yellow paint to dry. And now I'm painting on the second layer. I'm also going to paint the other pieces like the egg, ham, and green onion. I didn't show too much of the painting process, but just to let you guys know, this isn't going to be done in one layer. If you're fine with the spongy look, then you can leave it at one layer, but if you want to cover up all the holes on the sponge and make the squishy slow rising, you want to do at least 3 coats of paint. Puffy paint also takes an incredibly long time to dry, so I highly recommend that you use a fan or a hairdryer to dry the squishies. Instead of painting each green onion slice individually, I did it the lazy way, which is just to plop it into a glob of paint and mix it in. Then you want to spread them out on a plastic lid, or you can also use a Ziploc bag. It should be really simple to peel them off after they dry if you did it on a plastic lid or plastic bag. You'll have to cut off the excess paint, and also it's going to look really ugly on the backside, but that doesn't matter because we're not going to see that part anyways. The final step is to glue all the pieces together with fabric fusion. Please, please, please do not use hot glue or super glue because those will dry really hard, and the point of a squishy is to be able to squish it. Fabric fusion is a glue that dries flexible, kind of like Puffy Paint. So yeah, this is the finished product. If you find that there's too much air in your squishy, you can poke a few holes with a toothpick to let the air out. My squishy wasn't quite dry yet, so I didn't squish it aggressively in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!